So my wife got a lovely bouquet of flowers a couple of weeks back. The flowers have died off. Some were obviously rhododendrons, and even though we've ditched the rest of the bouquet because they're all dead, these are sprouting, which is great news. I'm going to try and bring these on. So, as I've said before, I'm going to try and resurrect these rhododendrons. The fact is I've left it 3 or 4 days since I last spoke about them, and they're looking way more worse for wear than they did earlier. So I'm not holding much hope. But here's what I know, what I've learnt from other people, is that generally you take cuttings from a healthy plant, not some old bunch of flowers that are weeks and weeks old, and you take off the majority of the base leaves, cut above a node, below a node, and you leave about 3 or 4 leaves on the top. You can possibly cut a third of those leaves actually in their length off as well. And you're meant to then scrape some of the outer layer off around the cutting that you've cut to aid the rooting powder to do its work more effectively, and you've got apparently more chance of the stem rooting that way. These obviously were from a bunch of flowers, so they're probably a lot longer than I need. They have shooted already, but as I say, those shoots are now dying, so I'd say 90% chance this isn't going to work, but I'll give it a go. So I'm going to cut them off here, scrape some of the outer layer off, put them in rooting compost, then put them in a warm, humid, damp climate for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I was just about to book a run to the dump actually to get rid of this amongst other things. This is an old plastic container that's cracked at the top, it's cracked on the side. As you can see, we've used it with gaffer tape around it. As you can see, here's a giant crack. So it's held together with tape. Now, as I said, I was going to dump it. Now I'm thinking, just for this exercise of the rhododendrons, this could be a great little moist atmosphere, i.e. a little greenhouse. So I'll do the cuttings, then I'll put them in here and see if that helps. So first of all, I'm going to cut them about that length. These leaves are crusty, they're not effective for photosynthesis, so I'm just hoping these new shoots have enough leaf there to help them through. But as I said before, 90% chance this isn't going to work. But as I said, I do like a challenge. So the next bit, I'm going to need my glasses for, I think. Right, got to shave some of this outer layer off, which allegedly will give the roots more chance of growing. I'm going to make this soil very wet, or compost I should say, not soil. Then we need to get some of our rooting compound, get some of our Vitax organic rooting powder. Just happens to be one I had on the shelf. Terry the toothbrush, make an area. Dip them in rooting powder into the soil and cross our fingers. As I said, it does need to be kept very wet and humid. I'm going to put them in this plastic box, which will double up as a little greenhouse. And I might even put a bit of water in the bottom just to keep that humidity up. Now I've got to find a space for this big old box in my garden. Or better still, just plonk it in that gap, because it fits. Bit of an eyesore, but hopefully it'll only be a few weeks. So out of the 2 cuttings from the vase of flowers, one has taken, one hasn't. So my concern now is the tips of these leaves, as you can see, don't look healthy. So I've got to look into that and find out why. And unfortunately, our rhododendron experiment, number one, we knew was going to die. I had big hopes, number 2, but that's on its way out as well. I don't really know how to turn that around. So I made a do or die decision and thought I'd take it out and see if there's any root for any possibility of life. But as you can see, a big fat 0. So I'm a bit miffed. But I'm going to do some reading up on this, and hopefully next time I'll get the answers. Well, hopefully you can join me again on gardeningdiary.co.uk and we can learn from our failures.